What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Jake, better known as StarCoding, coming at you with yet another video where we talk about what other than computer science. Today we're going to be in our second episode of our JWT series, our JSON Web Token Series, and in this episode we want to answer the question of why are refresh tokens useful? What do we use them for? How do they work in OAuth 2.0? And how do they work in this whole JWT scheme of things of modern web authentication? And without further ado, let's just hop on into it. Let's look at what we got going on here. So here we are. We have our diagram. Y'all might remember it from our last episode where we're basically starting from a browser. We're starting from a web browser. Great stuff. You like this little marker out here? Oh yeah, dude, he's chilling. But so we are going to navigate to a web app, and this is all about, okay, that was awful. We're going to go to a web app, okay? And this is all about authentication and logging in, obviously, so we're not going to be able to access the website. It's like Facebook or LinkedIn, you know, you have to log in first. And so we get redirected. We're gonna have to log in, sadly, now, which is fine because we log in once and that's all we need to do. That is the beauty of JWTs and sessions. And so we log in, we supply some credentials over here, great stuff. Maybe we change the color from now because now we have some authentication going on. And I get, you know, I think in the last video we said we got a JWT token. In reality, what we get is an access token and a refresh token right down here. So we get two tokens when we originally log in. And when we want to, when we get redirected, and when we, you know, visit a website, any resource on the website, we're going to use that access token, as you can see right here, which is great. You know, that's kind of how we explained it in the first one. Like, okay, we use a token. Boom, but there's two. So why is there two? So you might remember, or you might think that you can log in once and it could be days. It could be maybe a week and you can go back into your browser and you can still log in. It remembers you. That is great. How does that work? Well, we have a refresh token that could last, let's say, a month. It can last, let's say 6 months. The refresh token lasts a long time, 6 months. While the access token lasts maybe 10, 15 minutes. Why is that? If I'm accessing this website a lot, you know, if I'm making requests, I go back and forth a lot. There's a lot of web traffic that has that access token in it for whatever reason. If that access token got, you know, decrypted, if someone was capturing my web traffic, they would have, you know, there'd be a lot of instances of that access token going back and forth. So you could think, hey, if I get enough of Jake's web traffic, I could crack his access token, and you might be right with that. But we will actually refresh that access token every 15 minutes, every short period of time. So that way, even if, you know, someone cracks the access token, they would only have it for a short period of time before it has to get refreshed and used again. So that way your session, you can, you know, basically guarantee like, hey, you can try to steal this token, and even if you do, you're not going to have access for a long time. So that kind of, you know, defeats the purpose of trying to steal access from an access token. But how does this access token work now on the backend side? That's a great question. Here we go. So we kind of have an authentication server right here, and he has a database full of refresh tokens. And if you recall from the last episode, we kind of talked about one of the main reasons why we use JWTs is because it's so scalable and it's stored on the client side. So you're like, we have refresh tokens being stored on the server side. What is the you know, benefit of this? Well, since it is like a microservice type environment, we still can scale up our web app. So this web app could be huge. There could be 10, 20 instances of it running. But because we have only one authentication server, they're really, like the authentication server really never has to scale horizontally. It can scale vertically. You can just get a little bit more powerful because, login is quick. It is what it is. And at some point, you might have to scale the authentication server if you're LinkedIn and Facebook, which at that point, yeah, I'm not sure if the JWT token is going to be as, nice as a session cookie per se. It might lose its purpose at that point. We'll have to double check. But back to the main point, we have an authentication server with a database full of these refresh tokens. And so when I want to come and get a new token, there's a lot going on. Let's just get rid of that real quick. So when I want to, refresh said token, I will send back, I'm given an access token and a refresh token. I send back my refresh token, and then I get returned an access token in return. And Jake, you're talking a lot, okay? Where are you getting this information from? How can I trust you, okay? You're just some YouTube guy out in the wilderness. Yes, you are right. And when it comes to getting information on the web, I always recommend going to the lovely RFCs, request for comment sections of the interwebs. And over here, we have our OAuth 2 authentication framework, which is what powers JWTs and this whole scheme of modern authentication. So we can kind of scroll down here to the table of contents and go to this refresh token section. And as much as I would love to read this, which, kind of pause and read if you wish real quick, we can just kind of give a quick demo of how this works between client and authorization server. We're going to, request to have access to the server, which is great. And I receive in return an access token and a refresh token. I can use this access token to get protected resources, go to that web application. And at some point, I'm going to be using this access token, and I'm going to get an invalid token because it expired. 5 minutes, it expired. And so now I send my refresh token to the authentication server, and then get another access token and continue going on. So that is the life cycle. That is a refresh token. So thank you for watching. In the next video of the series, we're going to actually implement this guy, the JWT token, the access token, and the refresh token. So let's do it. Take care.